Around 100 former Israeli soldiers who were stationed in the occupied West Bank have demanded a stop to the violence by Jewish settlers against Palestinians.
Here's a summary of the article.
Around 100 former Israeli soldiers who were stationed in the occupied West Bank have demanded Israel's defense and internal security ministers to put a stop to the violence by Jewish settlers against Palestinians. According to a report on Israeli Army radio, the former soldiers, who have just completed their military service, sent a letter to Defense Minister Benny Gantz and Internal Security Minister Omer Bar-Lev about their experiences in the occupied West Bank. Calling for action against the phenomenon of settler violence, the former soldiers said the responsibility for countering the violence of Jewish settlers rests with Gantz and Bar-Lev. The violence perpetrated by the Jewish settlers against Palestinians has increased with the implicit support of the Israeli state for years, the letter said, adding, "We are the ones serving there and we have personally seen how that violence happened on the field." The phenomenon of settler violence manifested and intensified last year as damaging private property, stone throwing, physical violence against Palestinians and attacks on activists and Israeli security forces, it added. According to data from the Israeli Defense Ministry, a total of 370 incidents of violence perpetrated by Jewish settlers in the West Bank were reported in 2020, 42 of them against Israeli police and soldiers. Under international law, all Israeli settlements in the occupied territories are considered illegal.
This post received a score of 13,000, with an upvote ratio of 93%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Isn't everyone a former Israeli soldier?
About 40% of the general population is conscripted. If I remember correctly, out of those, the vast majority aren't combative, but support roles.
Does that mean 40% is currently conscripted or that 40% have been conscripted? Seems low if the latter, unless conscription is a relatively recent thing.
40%. Out of the eligible 18, approximately 30. Yearly batch. Conscription is mandatory in Israel since its foundation in 48. This percentage has varied over the years based on various factors. 40% is the number in recent years. How many have been conscripted I don't know. How many are conscripted currently is about 170 Kelvins, plus 400K in reserve. Reserves includes anyone discharged from service up to age 45. That means fathers with children and bare bellies.
No bare bellies, but beer bellies are totally acceptable. Israelis have a thing against furry men.
Greater than bare bellies, I'm hairy enough.
You're a grizzly, Harry.
Even if you do believe that these Israeli settlers have the right to build these settlements in the West Bank, which I certainly do not, I think we can still all agree that the violence these settlers are perpetrating against Palestinians must stop.
How much you wanna bet the settlers have unofficially been given the green light and a bit of extra manpower by Gov officials in the past? Just pawn in a political game.
Close to 80% of the political parties in the Knesset are pro-settlement. So yeah. Edit, someone pointed it out, so a more accurate description would be that parties that hold 80% of the seats, votes in the Knesset are pro-settlement.
80% of parties or 80% of MKs?
Oops. Thanks for pointing it out. Headache is making words hard right now, so I'm trying to figure out how to word it. MKs, representing the parties holding 80% of the seats, votes?
I mean, while the headline is technically correct, I'd say most Israelis are former soldiers. Though not all are stationed on the West Bank.
Saw this in Hebrew today. The real title was 100 former combat soldiers.
Calling them settlers already gives them too much credibility. They are thieves and pirates. I can't throw up a tent in somebody's backyard and then shoot their family when they try and ask me to leave. Then call myself a settler.
They're invaders.
Well, that's a refreshing headline.
Israeli Army. Available for military service 1,554,186 males. Age 17 to 49, 2016 est. 1,514,063 females. Age 17 to 49, 2016 est. Fit for military service 1,499,998 males. Age 17 to 49, 2016 est. 1,392,319 females. Age 17 to 49, 2016 est. Active personnel 169,500, including 102,500 conscripts. 1. Rank 29th. Reserve personnel 465,000 and #X200B. I say 100 people taking position against violence is a start.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.